Neural DSP Archetype. Tom Morello? So this week, Neural DSP dropped on us a brand new plugin, the Archetype Tom Morello. And it's probably the most divisive release to date for the company, because there was a flurry of Arctic precipitation that scattered all across social media in response to just the artists themselves. But once you filter out some of that Cliff Notes politicking, you did start to see some genuine concerns and some potential criticisms for the plugin itself. For instance, this is the first archetype to feature only one amplifier. And although there are some unique effects and tonal possibilities here, Morello himself might be kind of too narrowly focused an artist to really make this plugin applicable to a wide audience. Maybe. But also, his sound style, it's often tied back to his early days in Rage Against the Machine, and it's seen by many as kind of this niche, and if you wanted to try to emulate that, sound, you would end up being highly derivative of the artist himself. So, after messing with the plugin, however, even though it might say Tom Morello, on the cover of the Archetype, I think it goes well beyond him and what he does and what you might think it can do. So first off, it's a Marshall JCM 800. And secondly, some of the effects here that seem kind of redundant, on other archetypes, they actually might be some of the best versions that Neural DSP has put out. The wham effect that they have built into this is something else that we see in the Gojira plugin, but the ability here to set the different intervals to the up and the down position is just really cool. Now, something that is totally just like a Morello only effect, and it might have limited use, but is still pretty cool to play with, is the dive bomb. And it's cool because if you want to just do like really quick sweep ups, that's just a very quick, give it a little bit more. Or if you want it to go a little bit longer. You can make it sound like a siren or something. Now, granted, that's pretty Tom Morello specific, but, you might be able to find something to do with that. Now, I do have one gripe here with the effects section on the plugin, and that is that it has a fixed placement in the effects loop of the amp. Now, I understand that this is Tom Morello's setup, this is how his rig is done, but I think Neural DSP really should have made this option switchable. I think we should be able to put these effects in the front of the amp if we want to. Particularly, the 10-band EQ would be nice to put in the front because there's no boost pedal on this amp. Granted, this isn't supposed to be a modern metal type amp, so a boost pedal is kind of out of character and that's not what Tom uses, but to be able to put that equalizer up front and kind of use it as such, I think that would be a nice option to have instead. Now, if you're thinking that the tone on this amp is going to just be kind of this one-trick pony, type amp. I think if you were to start just going through any of the presets they have loaded into this, you'll quickly tell that this actually has quite a range to it. And some of these presets even have the doubler engaged, which is still a cool feature to have on any of the new Neural DSP plugins, and I think they should all have it going forward. Now, aside from some of the built-in presets, I was kind of curious if I could go in, kind of mess with some of the settings, and get either a decent thrash tone, and I should be able to, given that this is the bass amplifier that Kerry King of Slayer uses, or could I even go as far as messing with this enough that I could actually get something more modern sounding, even without a boost in front of the amp? I'm going to try that with the doubling effect to see what that sounds like. I would say that the thrash tone is pretty solid. I think this amp can do that like 80s, maybe early 90s thrash tone pretty well. The modern tone, kind of close, but I don't think the JCM 800 circuit, not being modified, is really built to do it. If anything, it gets kind of close to like early Deftones, as I was playing there. So, final verdict. I would say that you should definitely demo this plugin. If you get something from it, go for it. It's definitely cheaper than most of the other archetypes at the price point that they put it up for. And, if you have that 20% loyalty discount, you're probably going to pay less than you would for some of the branded standalone amp sims that they do. But I also understand that there's quite a bit of overlap here with some of the other plugins. With the JCM that you have on the Nolly, with some of the stuff that the Tim Henson does, definitely overlaps pretty heavily with the Rabea sound and kind of feel overall. But, if you really dig like the early 90s era rock sounds, or even the mid 90s, or even if you're kind of doing more of like an indie rock kind of crunchy, grungy type tone, or hell, even if you just want to get like an easy blues tone, because this kind of does that too, this might actually be a worthwhile grab for you. So that's what I got for this. Hope you guys had fun listening. Check you later.